Good morning. Welcome to Senate Finance. So sorry for the delayed start. We had buildings to buildings. We had buildings to build, I'm sure, and bills to present. All right, with that, I will start with the secretary. Please call the roll.
Senator Buck, Senator Cannizzaro, Senator Neal, Senator Nguyen, Senator Tyler, Senator Taylor,
Never going to live this down.
Senator Titus, Chair Dondera-Loop.
You know, you're just creating a bigger problem because now I've heard it twice today. Thank you so much. Please mark those present as they arrive. We are presenting bills and in and out. Both the vice chair and I presented bills this morning in Ways and Means, and so we apologize for the late start. And so with that, just a reminder to mute cell phones, and you all know the drill. And if you don't, as a teacher, I will remind you. So with that being said, we are going to get started, and we were going to call our own Assembly member, Brown May, to the table. Welcome. Thank you for your patience. We're here. Start when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Tracy Brown May. I proudly represent Nevada Assembly District 42 in the heart of Clark County. I'm very pleased to be with you here today to present Assembly Bill 117, which is the ACES license plate bill. You know how much we love license plates in the Nevada Legislature, and yes, we have one more in front of us today. The Las Vegas Lady Aces are two-time WNBA champions. They are the only major sports team in Nevada that do not currently have their own license plate. The funds that are accrued from this license plate sale will benefit the ACES Foundation, and those funds will support youth sports, female sports, and other local activities in Southern Nevada as determined by the mission statement of the ACES Foundation. We had a policy hearing and a fiscal hearing on the Assembly side. We determined that, and DMV is here, that there is no real fiscal impact relative to this piece of legislation, but we are very excited and hosted the owner of the Las Vegas Aces, a lot of their senior management team, and Buckets was here during the presentation time on the Assembly side. So with that is our entire bill presentation. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you very much. And I'm just curious, when you showed the picture of the license plate, there were some different letters next to that. Are there options, or is that just the DMV's trying to decide, or what is that?
Tracy Brown May for the record. Thank you very much for that question. So in researching and how we develop license plates, each plate issued has a double letter stack. The double letter stack comes through approval of DMV, and right now we don't know exactly what the ACES plate is going to look like. So there were a number of ideas being drafted that would then have to go through the approval process with the Department of Motor Vehicles to make sure that the double letter stack is available and that they could issue. So there is another plate that has two X's. Right, that would be the love plate, and those stand for kisses because that was available. So I know that the ACES are working to be creative in their plate development. So this was an idea.
Thank you very much for that explanation. All right, and with that, I'm understanding that you said the fiscal note has been removed. And any other questions from the committee? All right, I think you're off the hook. Thank you. All right, you can step back. Those in support of Assembly Bill 117, please come forward. Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working, but there are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition. Las Vegas, on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go to neutral. Mr. Sever. There's another name I can't get. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. Sean Sever, Nevada DMV. We are neutral on AB 117. But we did have a fiscal note. It was a cannot be determined. At the time, zero impact. However, that was at the start of the session when there were 9 or 10, I think, license plates proposed. Now we're down to 3, so we're good with a 0.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for coming to finance this morning. All right, Las Vegas, and we'll go to the phone lines for neutral, please, AVH.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll close the hearing. No closing remarks. We'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 117. Thank you very much, Assembly Member. And we will move on to Assembly Bill 221, and we'll welcome Assembly Member Edgeworth. Greetings. Please go ahead when you are ready.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Danderlulu, and also the truly hardest working committee in the Senate. My name is Dr. Rebecca Edgeworth. It's R-E-B-E-C-C-A, Edgeworth, E-D-G-E-W-O-R-T-H. I am proud to represent Assembly District 35, which is in Southwest Vegas, and thank you for the opportunity to present AB 221. To be respectful of your time, I'm just going to briefly describe the problem, the solution, and most importantly, why there's no fiscal note. I have strongly encouraged a lot of extremely excited dentists to not call in with testimony, but there was a lot of testimony in HHS on the Assembly side and no opposition. So this bill addresses a very specific subset of dentists who are both MD medical doctors as well as DMDs, doctorate in medical dentistry, so only those who have both designations. All dentists are already being inspected and regulated by the dental board for all dental procedures, just as they are. But in 2008, there was a little outbreak of hepatitis C. You probably saw it in the news at the endoscopy center in Las Vegas. This required, then the medical board and the legislature required extra inspections and regulation for MDs, which was appropriate at the time, but it was never meant to affect dentists who are already being inspected and regulated by the dental board. So currently in Nevada, there are only 7 people who have chosen to have their MD and their DMD, 7 people in the whole state. And those people who have to have this dental inspections as well as medical inspections, it takes time out of their day doing paperwork. It costs a lot of extra money for inspections. And it also is time that they could be spent. They have to shut down their clinic to do the inspection. So it's time they could be seeing patients. There's also a lot of people in this state, we estimate dozens, that have an MD, DMD, but are choosing not to designate themselves as the MD because of this onerous and burdensome extra inspection. And there's a lot of MD, DMDs who don't even practice, have chosen not to practice in Nevada because we are one of only 2 states that does this, that dings people twice. So we're trying to alleviate the burden by exempting an office of a physician if they are only doing dental procedures and if they're already being inspected by the dental board, as they surely are. So there originally was a tiny fiscal note, which wasn't a cost. It was just the 6 facilities, and it's $1,200, something like that, for each inspection. And it came to less than $9,000 as a decrease in revenue. But DHHS decided that they could absorb that because it'd be less paperwork and less sending people out to do the inspections. However, my phone a friend is Cody Finney in the audience. So just in case anybody has any questions, and with that, I'll be happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm amazed there's only 7 in Nevada that hold both degrees.
There are dozens. There's at least 20 in northern Nevada, but it's hard to see. But there's only 7 that have chosen to use the MD, DMD. Sorry, Rebecca Edgeworth, for the record. So, but I think that if we could get this passed, there would be an awful lot more people who would choose to use both of their licenses.
Okay, thank you. All right, questions? Senator Wynn.
Can you describe what types of procedures the dentists that are practicing engage in?
Thank you for the question, Rebecca Edgeworth, for the record. Theoretically, the same exact procedures that a DDS or DMD is doing. However, these individuals have chosen to get additional training for invasive procedures, but they are double trained for literally mostly the same procedures.
And any additional questions? All right, thank you very much. Step back. And with that, we'll go to those in support of Assembly Bill 221. Anyone in Carson City, Las Vegas? And on the phone lines, please, ABH, when you're ready.
The public line is open and working, but there are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go into opposition here in Carson City, Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing remarks? Thank you so much for being with us today. And I'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 221, and we'll open the hearing on Assembly Bill 379. And please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair, and hardworking Committee on Senate Finance. Good to see everybody again since we've been separated. My name is Brian Hibbets, for the record, and I proudly represent Assembly District 13, and I'm here to present Assembly Bill 379. It's an appropriation act for the College of Southern Nevada, development of its Northwest campus, which includes the two parcels at Elkhorn and Durango. If you're familiar with the northwest side of Las Vegas, you've seen these two dirt lots for the past 20 years with a big sign saying future home of. That is in my district, and the purpose of what we were trying to do there is build their public safety campus. They currently have their police academy in Henderson on Water Street, and they're spending $500,000 a year in rent for a space that they can no longer occupy because it is too small. The ultimate vision of this place is to move all of their law enforcement, fire sciences, and EMS training to this campus once it's fully built out. That will take several years to do. And there'll also be general education classrooms there so that people in the Northwest area don't have to travel to either the Cheyenne or Charleston campus in order to complete their general education classes. So this is in my district, barely, but it is, thanks to redistricting. And I'm a big proponent of this because of my law enforcement background. I've seen the training that comes out, and I think giving them a bigger, better spot only enhances their training opportunities. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to turn it over to Vice President Clarissa Cota, who's down south, to walk you through the money side of this, if that's okay with you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And we'll go down to Las Vegas. Welcome, and begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, and thank you, Assemblyman Hibbets. Good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Clarissa Cota, Vice President for External Relations at the College of Southern Nevada. And on behalf of CSN and our President, Dr. William Kibler, we really want to thank this body for your support last session in granting us $4.5 million in planning dollars to develop the Northwest Campus project, which is before you today. CSN went all in, along with many stakeholders, and invested in an additional $4.5 million for an investment total of $9 million to develop this shovel-ready project. And since then, we have spoken to so many public agencies, community partners, stakeholders far and wide, all very supportive of this higher education access point in this part of our valley. And as Assemblyman Hibbets had mentioned, the Northwest Campus in Las Vegas, for some of you, if you're familiar with Las Vegas, is located on Durango Drive and Grand Montecito Parkway. And this project is really a game changer for the constituents and their families in Southern Nevada, and it's been part of an overall master plan for well over 20 years. I live in the area, and so I I have always been keeping a close eye on it. So the plans are designed and ready to build this first building on this 40-acre parcel of land as to house our police academy, as mentioned. It would allow us to get out of a lease space and then allow us to really meet the needs that there are for highly trained law enforcement professionals, because we are at capacity currently where we are. It also would include an emergency vehicle operating course. And then we've identified already, just so that the body knows here, that close to 10,000 CSN students who already reside in this northwest quadrant of the Las Vegas Valley. And so it's very important to us that we would be offering general education courses. It would be an expansion of our CSN high school to allow for dual enrollment opportunities, student support services, and it really would be a higher education hub for all current, new students and their families. And we would be ready to serve 1,900 students in the first year. So knowing the fiscal realities of this session and the fact that this land was undeveloped, we know that the price tag is very high at $155 million, but you all have a very difficult job to do, and all indications are that the full funding is not available this session. However, we continue to appreciate the support that we have for this master plan. So we therefore are respectfully asking that this bill be amended to replace the $1 placeholder amount to $500,000 to allow us to keep our planning documents current and be ready for the next legislative session and keep this education and workforce-centered project shovel-ready if approved. CSN is prepared to match up to the amount requested. This land was originally conveyed by the BLM and will revert back in 2028, therefore aligning the timing for consideration in the next legislative session. We continue to thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. All right. All right. So we went from $1 to 500,000.
Yes.
In the last, actually about 45 minutes, because I just talked to Mr. Hibbets earlier, or Assemblymember Hibbets earlier. So, will you be able to do it for the dollar?
Currently, we would not. We don't have the funds. We've been working with Public Works, and we've been discussing, knowing the realities of this legislative session, and discussing the potential amount that it would cost to keep these planning documents current and ready for the next session.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions, Senator Canizaro?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I am at a loss because we received a bill that was amended to be $1, was always $1. I guess somebody needs to explain to me the wisdom of why we have a bill that is $1 that that has now come over to the Senate side, that was not amended on the Assembly side to include this, that we are saying this bill as written with $1 is impossible and cannot accomplish any of the things that you're seeking to accomplish with it. So unless we amend it to include additional monies, this bill should not pass and die. I guess I don't understand how it is that we received a bill that appropriates $1 that is non-functional, and that unless we add additional monies into, we just shouldn't pass.
Brian Hibbets for the record. Thank you for the question. Chair, may I go direct? Yes. Thank you. This bill was put in for $1 as a placeholder because the original ask was $150 million, and I said absolutely not, because I knew the economic realities of our state. Said I would put it in as $1 as a placeholder so that when we get to the end of session and we have closed budgets and we see what type of money is available, then we can make a determination whether there's money available for this or not.
So why was this bill not amended on the Assembly side, where we are appropriating monies? It came out of a money committee. It is now in a money committee in the second house. How come this bill was not appropriated money on the other side, when we have bills that are moving from one house to the other with money attached to them in order to move out of the money committees? If this was put in with $1 and not amended, I guess, can you explain to me how come it was not amended on the other side to come over to us, and now we are going to put in some sort of an amendment onto this bill?
Brian Hibbets for the record. Unfortunately, I wasn't involved in that decision. It was work session and moved.
But what was the conversation? And I can certainly go back and look at all of the hearings in the time that we have left here in this legislative building. What was the conversation on the assembly side during the hearing? Was it we are good with $1, or this was put in as a placeholder? Can you appropriate some money to it? And somehow it got moved without any money attached to it.
Brian Hibbets for the record. It's the latter. It was in the hearing that this is a placeholder.
Madam Chair, this may be more of a comment than a question. This is the first time that I have seen a bill come into a money committee that was intentionally put in with just a placeholder amount that was non-functional, passed over to the second house without money attached to it, and that now we are going to go ahead and find the money to try and fund. And so I don't know, I'm at a little bit of a loss with this committee as to how that is the case, because this is the first time that I have ever seen this happen. That's maybe more of a comment, and then I have a couple more questions, if you will, Madam Chair.
Yes, and I agree with you, Majority Leader, because if we all put in our bills with $1 placeholder, we would be in really big trouble. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think that maybe you actually said it better than I, that sort of subverts the purpose of bills with appropriations going to money committees if we're just passing everything with a functional dollar in order to ensure they move along and then try to figure out the money on the back end as bills are moving back and forth between the houses that actually do have money attached to them. So I've heard a couple of different numbers. 155 million, as I understand it, is the cost of the entire project.
If you don't mind, I'll let Ms. Coda answer that.
Yes, Clarissa Coda for the record, and Senator Canizaro, correct. In our initial presentations, we've always been representing that the total cost of the project is $155 million.
And today you are asking for this committee to amend this bill for it to be 500,000?
Yes, we are. And the reason, I'm sorry, Clarissa Coda for the record. And yes, it is an amendment. When we entered the session, the dollar amount was a placeholder as we were moving through and also representing in all of our presentations that the total cost was $155 million. There were other milestones within the legislative session that was giving us more insight as to what the fiscal reality was going to be for the state. We also listened to the guidance of many of the legislators we spoke with and realized that as along the way, we were going to need to pivot and realize, as I had said in my comments earlier, knowing the fiscal realities and the difficult situation we're in, we weren't going to be able to be replacing the dollar amount for the full amount. And that is why we are before you today. We also are working in cooperation with Public Works to give us an estimate of what it would be in order to keep these planning documents current and ready for the next legislative session.
So this, again, I think my frustration is that the idea of there being milestones along the way that then informed a decision, and we still have a bill sitting in front of us for $1, I think does not make sense to me. Nevertheless, this 500,000 would be for planning dollars. Is that correct?
Correct. With conversations with Public Works, our understanding is that there is a cost to continue to keep the current planning documents and be updating them within the interim and be able to come within 2 years from now before this body to be presenting the shovel-ready project. So there is a
Yes.
cost associated with keeping those planning documents current.
No, I understand. We have many projects that have planning dollars attached to them, some of which have been going on for sessions, as many as I have been in this legislative building, which is not as long as maybe some sitting in the audience, but definitely more than one. And so familiar with the idea of the planning documents and how it is that we make sure that those are current. I guess in terms of fiscal realities, as I understand it in the budget, and I'm sure that if this is not how it was reflected in the budget, but I'm sure I've got this correct. In the budget, there were not additional projects left for NSHE CIP, and I know there's folks from NSHE, so I hate that I might with some of these questions and comments volunteer you to make some comments along the way, but there was not CIP dollars in the governor's recommended budget that was approved out of this legislative building. There were some maintenance dollars associated with NSHE institutions, but not CIP. In terms of the fact that we know that there are many institutions that have a number of needs for buildings that are either old and crumbling or things that need updating or other pieces of either planning dollars or other items. And this may be the question maybe that I am going to pose to NG. Where in the list of priorities does this fall? Because I think if we're going to talk about the budget realities and the implications thereof for a bill, we have to do that in the context of what are the other priorities within these similar types of projects, such that if we were going to appropriate money for planning dollars or for construction purposes, for CIP purposes within NSHE, I think that there are a lot of other projects that we have heard about that would need to be also funded because they are buildings that, again, are crumbling, not functional, have been in the process of planning for a long time. So where does this sort of thing fall?
Clarissa Coda for the record, and I'm here to represent CSN, and I see that our Chancellor has just come in, so I will let her continue. Thank you, Chancellor.
Good morning, Chair Dondera-Loop, Majority Leader Canizaro. For the record, Patricia Charlton, Chancellor of Nevada System of Higher Education, and thank you for the question. Yes, this is actually the new information for me today, and so I will say that yes, our priority has this project is on the NSHE capital priorities. However, in light of the current fiscal reality that we face and the fact that NSHE has some very key top priorities that are still remaining with Ways and Means, particularly on ongoing existing personnel cost, our priority should capital eligible be available. While there are some items that are important for buildings that need to be sustained and also for life safety issues. And so those are at the top of our priority list as well. And then again, just recognizing that planning dollars do also set up some processes for the next session. So I hope that answers your question, Majority Leader.
It does, Chancellor, and I appreciate you being willing to get called out from the audience to come and answer some questions. And I think that is sort of the two things that I had questions around. When it comes to how the money committees are funding things, when we do not have oodles of money sitting around to just appropriate to all sorts of projects, there has to be some level of consideration with respect to priorities. And sometimes that means that things that are lower on priority lists do not get funded because we just don't have those monies. As I understand your answer, there are other priorities that have to get funded first, things like money to sustain the folks who are working in these institutions determinations. Sounds like it is a top priority because without those, you just don't have those programs and you don't have the ability to even have students on campus to be able to continue to sustain this. Additionally, I think then when it comes to CIP projects, obviously there's always priorities of what makes sense and what doesn't. We see that in the subcommittee of finance for K through 12 as we are reviewing CIP projects. Because that subcommittee also sees those CIP projects to make those determinations. And so if we're talking about we have found some money to do some CIP things, where does this fall on the list? And if this is coming over from another house and is somehow not in a priority list of things that another house is trying to fund, then I guess I am just, again, Madam Chair, going back to the original point, curious what we are doing with a bill that has a dollar but is being asked to be amended without some consideration of those budgetary pieces, aside from the fact that we don't have $155 million to put into one project. So I will leave it at that. Thank you for the time. Thank you again, Chancellor, for being willing to come and answer some last minute questions.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader, and I will go to Senator Wynn.
I can't even describe the level of frustration that I have with this presentation. I mean, I literally talked to you less than 35 minutes ago when we were joking about a $1 appropriation. And I assumed you would come in here and discuss that this had been fully vetted in the Assembly. It passed out of ways 2 days ago. It's not like the financial situation has improved or done. So I take a little bit of to come in here and say, we weren't sure what the financial situation was going to be. We were looking to see if there were dollars involved. 2 days ago, the Assembly Ways and Means Committee knew what the financial situation was. And it's not like money has miraculously appeared in those 2 days. And so for that to come over here in a 2-day time period and now there be an amended fiscal note is really, really disappointing on so many levels. It's just shocking. It's just shocking. There's no other words I have for this that we are sitting here. I thought maybe you were going to come in here and say it's $1 because we have like a donor and we need to do some sort of symbolic like transfer of money to be able to get some land to do stuff. So it's just crazy that we're sitting here in this situation today. So I'm just going to express my incredible frustration with this bill presentation, and the way that this has moved over from the other house into this house and put us in a very insane situation where we're being asked for $500,000 in a hearing without any kind of warning and with no change of circumstances between the 28th when this passed out of ways to the 30th when it is being presented here today. And so I don't really have any words to say about this other than I'm just incredibly frustrated with the lack of communication on this bill. And the lack of communication apparently within NSHE to know that this bill was moving forward, and it isn't even a priority within NSHE. I mean, there are so many other things that we're dealing with here today. So I'm, again, no question, just more of a comment, and thank you, Chair, for your indulgence.
Thank you very much. I guess I would just follow that up with the senator's correct. We, like, I don't know, 40 minutes ago, we're upstairs laughing about how we were going to pay out this dollar, whether it was going to be quarters or pennies. And to come down here and find out that, and it wasn't like we were laughing with other people. We were laughing with the bill sponsor. And I just have to, I'm just going to make a broad statement here. And if you're listening, listen to the broad statement. There's only one thing you have in this building, and that's your word. And so I am just incredibly disappointed that if I hadn't had this conversation and this happened, I might feel differently. But I'm like the rest of us up here. I'm just in total shock that we get a bill. I mean, maybe next session we just put a dollar placeholder and everything, and then we figure out that we need billions of dollars at the end. So I don't even know what to say at this point. All right. if there are any other questions. And if not, if you have anything to say, otherwise step back and we'll go to support, opposition, and neutral.
Senators, first of all, let me apologize because I made the incorrect assumption that there was discussions between our house and your house. When I was speaking with you earlier, I actually assumed that you knew what my plan was, and I shouldn't have. That was my fault. So allow me to apologize for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, if you will step back, I will ask those in support of Assembly Bill 379 to come forward in Carson City.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for hearing this bill. My name is Thomas Morley, representing Laborers Local 872 and Teamsters Local 631. I did help facilitate last week a meeting between the Southern Nevada Building Trades as well as CSN. They did sign an MOU, and we are in support of the project. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. We are also here in support of the project and the expansion of education in the Northwest. With the amendment, we will have to review if dollars allow. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good morning, and members of the committee. I'm Dr. Lawrence Weekly with the College of Southern Nevada, and I am here in support of this project as well as its amendments as well. Thank you so very much for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Anyone in Las Vegas? We'll go to the phone lines. Anyone in support on the phone lines, please. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of AB 379, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Aron Ibarra. I'm the Chief of Staff of the Southern Nevada Building Trade Unions. We strongly support this investment in the College of Southern Nevada's Northwest Campus because it strengthens the partnership that's already delivering real outcomes for Nevada students, workers, and families. Through our current MOU with CSN, over 3,000 apprentices across our 19 affiliated trades are earning college credit as they complete the registered apprenticeship programs. These are high-quality, tuition-free, and debt-free career pathways where students earn while they learn, receiving wages, benefits, and hands-on training from day one. We are finalizing an expanded agreement with CSN that will provide all our apprentices with additional resources offering orientation, access to academic and wellness support services, and the opportunity to graduate with both journeyman trade certifications and an academic degree. This new campus would potentially serve almost a third of our registered apprentices. This planning appropriation ensures that CSN can continue advancing its vision for accessible career-connected education while keeping this project aligned with future workforce and infrastructure needs. When construction is eventually funded, we're also working to ensure that union-trained local workers and the very same CSN students that this will serve will be the ones that build it under a project labor agreement. This is the model we believe in, one that builds careers, strengthens families, and keeps public investment rooted in our own communities. We urge your support to AB 379. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional callers, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no further callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing comments? Okay, thank you. We will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 379, and we'll open the bill hearing for Assembly Bill 475. Here's another one.
Chair, members of the committee, Jonathan Norman, NORMAN with the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. AB 475 is an appropriation of $21 million for eviction diversion efforts in the three partners, Clark County, the City of Reno, and the Rural Housing Authority, that have been doing rental assistance in our state for a number of years successfully. This supports primarily eviction diversion court has been extremely successful in Reno Justice Court and Las Vegas Justice Court, but that doesn't exist in every justice court in the state, so there is the ability within this bill to do ordinary rental assistance. Chair, would you like me to walk through the bill, or we could just go to questions? I have all the folks with the Clark County, the Rural Housing Authority, Reno, Washoe County, and community partners here if there's any additional questions.
Thank you very much. All right, questions? Senator Canizaro.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. And I appreciate you talking to us about this bill, and for the eviction court, this would just be funding for the ongoing program.
Majority Leader, thank you for the question. So in our state, Jonathan Norman for the record, thank you. So we have eviction diversion, it is ongoing. So we have eviction diversion programs in Las Vegas Justice Court and Reno Justice Court. And then for those parts of our state that don't have a diversion court, it would just be more traditional rental assistance. The power of diversion court, I mean, it's the future and where we should be headed as a state, but not every justice court's able to implement that. And the reason is it wraps people in services, so it's able to assess if a senior's behind on their rent and their income is Social Security. We don't want to just kick the can and say we're going to cover 2 months of rent, we're going to be an eviction in 2 months. So the power of diversion court is the county and legal aid and other providers are able to try to find more sustainable housing when you're not exactly in that crisis moment, and then potentially rehouse that person. So, maybe there's a day where we can move statewide to an eviction diversion court model. It may not make sense for every justice court. For example, in Moapa Valley, they had one eviction in 2024. So, but yes, it's ongoing. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that, and I see that this money certainly is going to both Northern Nevada, Southern Nevada, and then out into rurals for that. And I appreciate you, I think, answering probably what was going to be my next question, Madam Chair, which was, is this just somebody being able to pay whatever their back owed rent is? But you spoke about the wraparound services, and so I appreciate the opportunity to just make sure we knew exactly what these programs were and that they were ongoing. And so I appreciate the time, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Norman.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions on this particular bill? Can you speak to the fiscal note just a little bit?
Jonathan Norman for the record. So the bill started, I think, at $25 million, and my understanding from Assemblymember Danielle Monroe Moreno, there were negotiations to bring that appropriation down to what is before you. And it is just an appropriation. There's no fiscal note from a state agency or a local government.
Okay, so the bottom line will be?
Jonathan Norman for the record, $21 million. And the numbers break down to $15 million for Clark County, $5,250,000 for the City of Reno, and Mr. Ciccone is here, but the City of Reno serves the entire Washoe Valley. So there is language in here making sure that the criteria for getting rental assistance doesn't change if you're in the City of Reno, the City of Sparks, or unincorporated Washoe County, and then $750,000 to the Rural Housing Authority. And so the total would be $21 million.
Thank you very much. All right, if you want to step back, we'll go to those in support of Assembly Bill 475.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Nick Ciccone for the record, representing the city of Reno. Just want to go on the record and saying we support this bill. Last session, when we were able to amend AB 396 to give the city of Reno rental assistance dollars, that was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. We have used this funding. Last session, we were appropriated $3 million. We used that for 1,400 residents within, or families within the city of Reno, the city of Sparks, and Washoe County. Again, we run a regional program for the entire region, and we support this bill and appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop and members of the Senate Finance Committee. Joanna Jacob, JACOB, on behalf of Clark County. Here in support of the continued funding, we have been partnering, as Mr. Norman detailed, with legal aid and the courts in Southern Nevada on this program. I just wanted to give you an update on the funding that was appropriated last session under AB 396 to Clark County. We have been working on that and subcontracted to two subcontractors, HopeLink and Help of Southern Nevada, who are on track to spend our existing allocation by June 30th. So we will be reporting to you by September under the terms of that bill on our final results, but this funding will help us continue this program. And we have served, I have numbers from the end of April that we served 2,451 households under eviction prevention throughout the valley and 585 households under our fixed income, which largely helps people who have fixed income, meaning seniors on SSI and people who cannot adapt to market trends. So thank you very much for the continued support for this program, and we are in support. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Harrison Bohn, Harrison Bohn from Brownstein, on behalf of HopeLink in support of AB 475. Just want to provide the committee here some fiscal stats. I know this is the money committee, so we'll make it happen. So HopeLink is the lead distributor of rental assistance in Southern Nevada and provided over $7.4 million to landlords and property managers in 2024. On average, HopeLink sends about 5,500 to stabilize a household and prevent homelessness. And the majority of these households do not need any further services. Believe that number is roughly 90-ish%. A 2017 study by Help Hope Home revealed that individuals experiencing homelessness cost the community over $70,000 in public services, whether that's being incarcerated or just going to the hospital, the ER. We appreciate the bipartisan support around eviction diversion and thank the sponsor and the body for recognizing this important effort. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Cadence Matijevich, Cadenceematijevich, representing Washoe County, here in support of the bill today, and want to thank Assemblymember Monroe Moreno for her continued advocacy for eviction diversion funding. As you heard from Mr. Ciccone from the City of Reno, the City of Reno has really kind of taken the lead on this issue in Northern Nevada and in the Truckee Meadows. They've done a great job, and so we would be most grateful to see additional funding come to Northern Nevada and let them continue the good work that they've been doing on behalf of our entire region. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Katie Coleman. I am the Communications Director with Nevada Rural Housing, and I would like to express strong support for AB 475. Since launching our Emergency Rental Assistance Program in 2021, we have built a proven, responsive system to help get Nevadans who need it most quickly, securely, and with real accountability. In just the past 2 years alone, we've helped 465 households stay safely housed in rural and frontier communities across the state. Programs like this don't offer just relief, they prevent homelessness. They give families a chance to stabilize, recover, and then move forward. We stand ready to continue to do this work, and with your support, we can keep more Nevadans housed, and that's exactly what Nevada needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Mindy Elliott with Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority this morning to express our strong support for Assembly Bill 475. This bill provides critical and powerful resources and the $15 million for Clark County to prevent evictions and promote housing stability. Every day, Sunra sees firsthand how close many families are to homelessness. Eviction diversion programs help us to intervene early, keep people housed, and avoid the devastating personal and social cost of displacement. AB 475 supports solutions that are both cost-effective and humane, and we applaud the legislature and especially our sponsor, Assembly Member Danielle Monroe-Marino, for recognizing the urgency of this issue. We urge your support and stand ready to partner in implementing these funds quickly and equitably. We thank you for your time, and of most important, we appreciate your supporting the needs of our most vulnerable Nevadans. Thank you.
Good morning, Maurice Page, MAU, RICE, PAGE. I'm the Executive Director for the Nevada Housing Coalition, and we are in support of Assembly Bill 475. We appreciate the hard work that Assembly Member Danielle Monroe-Marino has put into this, and as we know that with the unemployment rate still increasingly high and homelessness has surged since the pre-pandemic days, this funding will ultimately go towards helping individuals and families stay in their homes. And we are, again, strongly supporting this bill to move forward. Thank you.
Any additional support here in Carson City? Las Vegas? And on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of AB 475, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please, AVH, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 475, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And those in neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please.
If you would like to testify in the neutral position, AB 475, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. This is Judge Jessica Goody with the Las Vegas Justice Court. I'm here to testify in neutral because it's a policy position. We can't testify in support, but I would like to reiterate the success of the program in Las Vegas Justice Court and provide maybe a little additional information about our goals for the program going forward. We are looking to expand the program to encompass our mobile home communities, which currently have not been eligible to receive the assistance. And then we are also looking at extending it to families with young children to, again, cover some of our more vulnerable populations. I do not have stats with me on the success of the program, but I do believe that our representative from Clark County provided that, and I am happy to answer any questions that the members may have regarding the success of the program and what we would like to do with it going forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Any other callers on the line?
Yes, Chair, one moment.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. This is Kendra Birchie, Kendra Bertschy for the record, and I am a judge in Reno Justice Court, and I have the privilege of presiding over our eviction diversion court. I won't go over all the details of our program, but I'm happy to answer questions about the holistic approach that we take to providing wraparound services to those individuals with therapeutic interventions to promote long-term stability. I do want to just mention that with the City of Reno's assistance, as well as Nation's Finest, we've been able to allocate and provide over $500,000 from the appropriation that was provided through AB 396 in the 82nd legislative session, which, based off of the survey from HAND with the City of Reno, they have been able to keep, just through our eviction diversion court, 80% of those who did not receive the eviction still remained housed after a period of time, as well as through Nation's Finest, 100% of the veterans who were assisted utilizing this program remained housed. So I'm happy to answer any questions that committee members may have. Thank you for hearing this bill.
Thank you very much. And with that, any additional callers on the line?
There are no further callers to provide initial testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, closing comments? We'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 475, and we'll open the hearing on Assembly Bill 575. Good morning, and please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop and committee members. For the record, my name is Christy Defer, D-E-F-E-R, and I am the incoming Deputy Director for the Department of Public Safety. With me is Jennifer Ramos, R-A-M-O-S, and she is the Administrative Services Officer for the Department of Public Safety Director's Office. We are here to present Assembly Bill 575, which makes appropriations to the Department of Public Safety for the replacement of computer hardware, equipment and associated software, vehicles, furniture, information technology projects, and a recruiting campaign. The one-shot appropriation totals $9,441,073, which includes $9,380,138 from the State General Fund and $60,935 from the State Highway Fund. This bill includes requests for multiple DPS divisions. I can briefly summarize each section, or with respect for the committee's time, we can move directly to any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate that. And with that, I will just ask for questions. It's fairly succinctly laid out in the bill, and I appreciate that. Any questions from anyone? All right, we don't see any. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the new job. And with that, we will go to those, or maybe not, condolences. With that, we'll go to those in support of Assembly Bill 575 here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working, but there are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Okay. Then closing remarks, seeing none, we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 575. You get the award for the fastest bill today. And we will hear Assembly Bill 594.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Shelley Hughes, Executive Director for the Nevada Department of Taxation. I have with me today Yvonne Navarez-Goodson, who's Chief Deputy Executive Director, and together we will be presenting an overview of AB 594. As this committee is aware, the department is currently undertaking a large state modernization project to implement a new integrated tax system for the state of Nevada, known as Project Mint, or MINT. With the department's modernization efforts, we've recognized 3 specific opportunities for the law to adapt to modern applications. The first modernization goal relates to authorizing electronic notices to taxpayers through the new system. except in circumstances in which the taxpayer opts out, or the law otherwise requires mail or personal service. The electronic delivery of such communications is expected to result in a budgetary efficiency measure by savings in paper printing and mail delivery costs. The department's budget to the legislature included Decision Unit E233 with a savings of $22,344 in each fiscal year of the biennium for these cost savings. Second, with the new system, the department is able to distribute revenues much earlier on a cash accounting basis. As a result, the department is requesting an earlier due date by approximately 10 days for businesses to file and pay their sales and use tax to the department. This will ensure more timely distribution of revenues from specific filing periods. This change would only affect taxable periods on or after January 1st, 2026 to provide sufficient time for taxpayers to adapt to the new timeline. And finally, the department has recognized outdated statutes when programming and configuring the new system for the upcoming implementation in December relating to the NAICS categories applicable to tax rates for the commerce tax. Accordingly, this bill adopts the most recent version of the NAICS published by the U.S. Census Bureau. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. All right, any questions from the committee? Senator Titus?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering why she's in front of the fiscal. Is it because what's your fiscal note, or is it because we're saving money, there's no fiscal note, or money, please?
Thank you for the question, Senator Titus. Shelley Hughes for the record. Yes, we needed to change certain provisions in our statute to allow us to do the electronic delivery. And so this is an efficiency measure, and we will have a cost savings. But because it's in front of the fiscal committee, I think it's because of those efficiency savings. Oh, and yes, correct. It is a budget implementation.
Okay, thank you very much. Even when you're saving money, you have to get to come before us. Thank you very much. All right, any additional questions from the committee? All right, with that, thank you very much. You may step back, and we'll go to those in support here in Carson City.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop and committee members. For the record, Becky Dutro, DUTRO with Nevada Taxpayers Association. The association testified in the neutral position during the first hearing of the bill as introduced. The main concern was the original effective date of July 1st and the short amount of time taxpayers would have to make necessary changes. With the amendment and the effective date for Sections 6 and 7 of January 1st, 2026, that concern has been alleviated. We thank the department and Chair Backus for the continued dialogue and introduction of the amendment. Thank you to the committee for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. However, there are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, on the phone lines, please.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing remarks? All righty. Thank you very much. We'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 594. All right, with that, we have finished our agenda this morning. We will definitely be coming back. We might come back twice, so stay tuned. I can't babysit everybody, so I'll try to send out emails and get everybody here. But with that, we are in recess.